Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Here we are, 2023. Can you believe that? Didn't 2022 fly by? I know it did for me. I look up and I'm like, what happened? And we're in 2023. But welcome to 2023, each and every one of you. It is a blessing to have you here today. I'm so excited about the show as we begin the new year. I'd like to thank you to our live viewers. Those of you that are watching live, please go to YouTube and like and subscribe. And I'd like to thank you, the replay viewers. Please go to YouTube and like and subscribe also. I'd like to thank our sponsors for today's show. We have IEHP. Those of you, you can go to IEHP.com. We have Front Page Publishing. Go to frontpagepublishing.com. There's the Idea Club, theideaclub.com. I know. And we have a nonprofit. Many of you heard of Main Ambition. Main Ambition is our sponsor today also. And Main Ambition is a nonprofit that helps seniors in high school. If they are low achieving seniors, then our nonprofit is my husband and I, nonprofit, Main Ambition. And it is to encourage those students to increase their achievement and then to graduate. If you really think about it, just to have a student get over that finish line of graduation is huge. And then so many doors are open to them, whether it's federal jobs, state jobs, city jobs. But if you don't have that high school diploma, there's so many doors that are closed to them. So I just want to, those of you interested in Main Ambition, you go to mainambition.org. I'd like to also tell you today, we have, before I almost forgot. Those of you know, I always talk about before I get into our guests, and we have an outstanding guest for you today. Outstanding. This gentleman, oh my goodness. You just wait. You'll know what I'm talking about. He's coming on the show. But I always try to introduce the books from the publishing company, Front Page Publishing. We have some new ones coming out. So I didn't have those with me today, but don't worry. You'll see them all, the covers of 2 books that are coming out. They'll be out next week on, you can go to Amazon and get those. But I'm going to show you the ones that are already there for you right now. Many of you have heard of these already. That is Saying No Nicely, the one right behind me. This one is all of 40 pages. You can read this in a whole 30 minutes and done. But what you learn, if you go to Say No Nicely on Amazon, you'll see people really like this book. It has a lot of 5 stars. I wrote this book. This book is based on me. I couldn't say no. I learned how to do it, put it in a book. Next, another one. Many of you have you seen a red elephant? I think this is being put in a larger size. This is a smaller size and we put in a larger size. Stuck in the elevator. This is based on a true story. Me and my husband, we were in Brazil and we got stuck in the elevator. True story. Obviously, as I always say, we got out. These are some of the pictures from that book. If you have small kids, and just reading to small kids at night, they just love it. You know how that goes. Then we have Justin Lost a Tooth. Many of you know Justin Lost a Tooth is going up again. It'll be up by Friday, I think. That's what this one is. So it's out right now. We've just selling these so fast. Justin Lost a Tooth. I think we just like that little boy sitting on the tooth. That's what we like it. And Justin is one of our sons' names. This is Peyton, the pink whelp, the yellow tail. Peyton is our oldest son's name. He did not like the idea of the whale being named after him, but I know it's a way of putting their names on books. That's Peyton. This is by the youngest son. My Cat is a Spy. Justin wrote this, the youngest son. This is his book, My Cat is a Spy. This is one of our authors, Fayette Foster. And she's also in the anthology that's coming out. This is Fayette. She did a short story. And so as we keep going, one of my favorites, Save Your Home from Probate. You guys know how I feel about that. Oh, this is 34 states in the Save Your Home from Probate. And there's a California edition. So those of you who live in California, just want California, you can get that one. From the Ashes I Rise, Dare to Do the Impossible. This is one of our authors. And her birthday is next month. And she will be the young age of 90. This is one of our youngest authors, 90. Dr. Henry. Hi, Dr. Henry. This is her book. I get so excited for her. And now, I don't think I went over this with you, and this is a journal. We have journals in there. This is a journal I wrote. Those of you that say, well, I want to start a journal I want for this year. you're right at the beginning. This is a journal that you can have. But I have like 10 journals. This is one that's very popular. It's the Big Black Journal. And this was actually based on what was going on during the George Floyd time. That's what made me do this one. So now, and I'll be honest, I wish I tell you that this is all of them. That's not even all of them. We have been blessed to come to. I mean, all of the books, the ideas. I often say I thank God for the downloads. I've been able to write and still write. The new one coming out, as I mentioned before, is called Transformations. This is 13 authors in the book. If you're on the email list, you'll get the email when it goes live. If you're not on the email list, you go to marydwelch.com and you can join the email list. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to our guest for today. And I've really been honored to speak to this gentleman. His name is Rickey Johnson. He's America's transformation coach. Creating a solid legacy is the driving force and mission to Rickey Johnson's education programs. His ultimate goal is to help every family create a legacy constitution. And I love that. A legacy constitution that's passed down from generation to the next generation. Wow. Whether in person or webinar, Mr. Johnson shares an exceptional format that is full and easy to apply. His courses are fundamental, they build character, and provide simple solutions that can be customized to help families solve their problems. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you to the one and only Mr. Rickey Johnson. Rickey Johnson, are you there?
Right here. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy that you're able, because I know your schedule is very impacted. It's busy. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Look, the pleasure is mine. When you was introduced me, I was just wondering who's that guy you're talking about.
No, it's you. It is you. I just want you to know that before we even get on, you have, when I tell you, it's so, your story. This is how I was introduced to you, was by your story. And when we first talked and you told me, which I'll just go right into it, that you were once homeless.
Yes.
Can you share with our audience, what was that experience like?
It was the best experience I ever had in my life.
Wow.
It stripped what I call silent pride out of me. Still in the music industry, working in corporate America, so forth and so on. And one day I lost everything, had no roof over my head, moved from Los Angeles. I'm actually originally from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Upland, stayed with my cousin for about a month or maybe 3 weeks. Ended up in his office, backseat of a car. It was rough. But it taught me never, ever to give anyone ever that much authority in my life ever again.
Wow. You mean as far as having a boss? Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean?
Having the power to fire me. And I've always had a dream, even as a kid with my grandmother. She was an entrepreneur. She was Greek, Indian, African-American man. And I saw her, she was always her own boss. And so I'm not so much pushing to be my own boss, more than I said that if I can help, X number of thousands of people, family, for generations, I've done my job. Right. I love helping. That's what we was talking about, the legacy constitution. But through that, I had to recover. It was very humbling. And I would share with you, when I was 1 year, I had Christmas by myself, sitting in Taco Bell all day because I had nowhere to go. 4,300 miles away. But from that, it was the best thing that happened to me, because it humbled me. And for that, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful.
I'm listening to you. I'm thinking, I remember this years ago when I went to the bank and I had 12 cents in the bank. I'll never forget. I wish I had kept the slip, because I remember looking at that and I said, never again. That's how much it had. It was just vibrating to me. It's like, never again. And then somebody told me, they said, at least you had 12 cents. They've been there when they were overdrawn. So, but it did something to me.
Yeah,
It's like you are better than this, and,
definitely.
and that's what you realize too for yourself. You said, I'm better than this.
Yeah, and I lacked exposure. No one in my family, and it's not a downer on them, but no one in my family passed some type of instructions to me what to do. And
Yeah.
so I was just kind of living life and going on a gift. And but I had no zero plan, no written plan. A lot of conversations, but nothing written.
Oh,
And that was a strong motivator for me to change what I do.
right, right. Well, I can tell you, we have some comments coming in. I saw Gwen. Let me, so I can put Gwen up here. Gwen says, and she says, hi, Mary, Happy New Year, and welcome guests. Hi, Gwen. Gwen is at every show. Thank you, Gwen.
Right.
Your support is so appreciated. So thank you. And then we have Richard Nichols, and he says, Happy New Year also. Thank you, Richard. It is definitely appreciated. More than you know, I tell you. And he says, Happy New Year. He said, Mary and Albert, let's have a great 2023.
Yes.
Ethel Rucker. I think you know Ethel.
I'll be with them on Saturday.
Oh, see? I
Yeah.
tell you, it's a small world.
Yeah.
And I think Ethel says Happy New Year also. Thank you, Ethel. Ladies, gentlemen, you can go, I think it's YouTube, Facebook. I'm not sure what's going on with Facebook. I don't want to tell you because I don't really know. Here, let me go here. And then mine is jumpy. It's getting a little jumpy. I don't know why. It was doing fine earlier. But I've learned this is life. And then Ethel says, Happy New Year. Thank you, Ethel. And then we're gonna go back over here. I tell you. And then we have another, and then Fayette says Happy New. I'm just going down the line. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, each and every one of you. And I'm gonna come back. But I really want I know too, when you was telling me about that day, what happened that day that made you, because obviously you're not there now. You made a conscious decision that that would never happen again, I'm assuming.
Definitely. Definitely. A dear friend of mine, once I see Sandra Johnson. She's from our church. That's our church administrator. I could see the guests.
Okay.
Yes. And so I had made a conscious decision. I wanted to learn. I always been a curious guy,
Mm-hmm.
conscientious. And a friend of mine introduced me to a book. And once I read the book, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And
Uh-huh.
once I read it, I went to the back. And someone always told me, follow the breadcrumbs.
Wow.
Someone write a book. Like if you write a book, I'm looking for who you endorsed. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Who, what book you endorsing, and then I'll go buy that book.
Right. Right, right, right.
And so I kept reading, 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 learning, and then the key was being a pastor. I'm an avid reader, and so
Uh-huh.
I want to know how. I started asking questions about scriptures. What does it mean to
Okay.
be the head and not the tail? And I realized I wasn't around too many heads.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's not a downer. It was just I was just what's the head? I
Yeah.
mean, people good on the scripture, but the
Right.
life, the life. And so I just started studying, and then I said, I need to apply playing sports when I was a kid, playing music. You got to apply what you learn, and I just started applying. Um,
Right.
and and I am so grateful for failure because failure is not failure. I don't take it as failure.
Mm-hmm.
One writer said, failure isn't a person; it's an experience, it's an event.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that was Zig Ziglar or one of them. And so when I look at it, I didn't fail. It pushed me to the next level, or helped me create a next level for myself.
I think the reason people don't do a lot of things is their fear of failure, not failing, the fear of it. It prevents people from even taking a chance. But
Yeah.
what I have learned, over time, I've learned this: you do fail, fail, fail. That is part of the process.
You,
It
you
it
know, that's
Oh
right.
no,
Sorry to
I'm
cut you off. My
no,
bad.
no. You know what it is? We both excited because we
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a writer that said that people are more afraid of succeeding than failing.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
another.
debatable. But either way, I agree with you. I think that there's a Hebrew word,
Mhm.
and I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. It's called kutzpah, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And it means being bold, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. It
Right.
has the connotation of being more bold and determined about what you want.
Wow.
And when you see in the Bible, they got determined. So that's whatever you get determined to do. I mean, Tiger Woods got determined. He made it happen.
Right.
You know, Michael Jordan, anybody in life, you're doing good spot writing all those books,
Mm.
which you're making sure that when we leave the earth, your grave will be empty of all your ideas.
Yep.
Put
That's
it on paper.
what's that saying? And they said they're going. I'm gonna be one of them people that slide into that graveyard.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm not gonna be one where they're gonna be. When they say the richest place on earth is a graveyard,
right.
I won't be on that group.
No,
Um,
I'll be empty. All
mhm.
my dreams gonna be left, so
Yeah.
it can go to multi generations.
Yes. And I sometimes I even talk about that I've met people, and you probably have too. They have in their garage or wherever in their house, they have written books, they've written scripts, they've written all of these things, poetry, and they sit there. And I tell people that is going in the trash when you leave here unless you publish it.
Yes, yes,
What do you
ma'am.
what people don't even know what it is. So they wouldn't even take the time, and some of it is brilliant,
Hmm.
but you got to publish.
Yeah. Well, when I get ready to do my book and my movie, maybe I'll give you a call.
Oh, please do.
It's about
For
my mother.
sure.
So it's about my mother. And
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't want to throw the story out there because I know people watch and they get
Yeah.
creative and try to run with your idea, but I'll let you know it's a interesting story. But see, it's people like you that more people need to know about.
I enjoy. I mean, as I mentioned before, I showed at the beginning. I would say she's my. First, I used to say she's my oldest author. Now I say she's my youngest author, and she's 90, or will be 90 in a month. And I look at that, and the concern for her when we published her book was, would she live to see it? That was her concern, and I cannot tell you. I'm so happy she did, but I understand what she means because she did not want to leave this earth. And this book is. She had been working on it for 15 years. Let me just say
Wow.
that. 15 years. We worked with her for 6 months, the company, and the book was published in six
Yeah.
months. But a lot of it is getting over these humps. It wasn't that she didn't have the book, she didn't know how to put it together to make it into a book.
Okay.
And you gotta, it's an art to everything. I would tell anybody it's an art to it. To how do you do these things? How do you know the beginning and the end and the middle and all that? And many times I tell anybody it's instincts. It's instinctual for me. Um, but I would encourage anyone, get a coach. Get a
Mhm.
coach.
Yes.
And that's what you have. And you said you're talking about these books you've read and everything. Those were coaching you.
Coach me. Yeah. And I've spent a lot of money, thousands of dollars on people's stuff, and I have no problem because, as we said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
before we got on the show here, ignorance is very expensive.
It is.
It's amazing. People will spend money on cars, belts, clothes, but they won't spend nothing to put up here.
I know. That's just I think is we or now with the internet you think you can get it for free. That's another thing. Oh,
Yeah.
I can find that on YouTube, or I just Google it or something like that. Everything in the world is not on the internet.
Well, can I share a story with you?
Please
Let's talk
do.
about
Please
that.
do.
What happened is I went and started doing seminars, teaching this concept.
Hmm.
And when I was at these locations, I would give free handouts out of my own pocket. I pay for it, like 5 or 6 pages. And if you got 50, 100 people there, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of
Right.
money. But I want to be a giver. I always
Right.
wanted, like I told you, I don't want nobody to beat me giving. I want to keep pushing it. But my point is that I found it on the floor. I go around it.
Oh,
I'm picking up the handouts on the floor.
yep.
Go to the next location on the floor. Next
Yep.
location on the floor. Guess what I did?
What's
I
that?
made I made it instead of free. Now it's $5.95. Guess what happened?
It
Still on the
wasn't on the floor.
still on the floor.
No.
Yes, still on the floor. So I pushed it to $9.95. Still on the floor. I pushed it to
Wow.
$15.95. Still on the floor. Pushed it to $19.95. Nothing on the floor.
Wow.
Because once you understand value, there's nothing. Education is so valuable, and you need a coach so
Yep.
they can help you achieve your goal faster.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I do what I do at the same time. I'm talking to a financial planner, a estate planner, attorney. Which I'm gonna invite them. I'm gonna encourage them to contact you to be on your show.
Okay.
Okay, a fiduciary, real estate people, insurance people that we work with, and so forth. And they are coaches. They tell me, Bishop, you don't want to do this. Here's the reason why.
Mm,
And so, whenever you have a coach, the coach help you go over the hurdles much faster.
they do.
Yeah,
You know, you heard that saying, if you want to go slow, you go alone. But if you want to
good.
go fast, you
Wow.
you you go with a team, because it really is iron sharpening iron. It's so much, and the synergy from working with other people, it's no question you go faster. There is no I already know. But I do hire coaches to work with me. I know people think I'm just, you learn all this. No, there are people that they don't see behind the scenes that have been instrumental in giving me all kinds of advice. Some I take, I'll be honest, I don't take all of it, but I try to use that what I can and make me a better person.
Eat the meat, spit out the bones.
Yeah.
That's an old Southern term. that I,
It is. It
yeah,
is.
eat the meat, spit out the bones. What applies? Put it together. Everything I read in the book don't apply.
Exactly.
But you know what
Mhm.
I do when let's say if I was reading your book and
Uh-huh.
I read the first round, I'm reading through and I come with a great idea, I put a number by it. Then that's number one. I go to the next one, I get another one, I'll say number two. And when I finish, I may have 50 ideas that apply to me. Then I go
Hmm.
back to number one and I say, okay, now how do I apply this? And I do one thing at a time and won't stop until I finish. And when I finish, I move to the next number. So
Wow.
your book will become so much valuable to me because I start checking off, if you will, those things that apply into my life.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
That's how I read.
well,
And
I
it
can
works.
tell you, as I mentioned earlier, I am definitely on his and I going to talk about your legacy constitution, because I'm sure we're going
Okay.
to be working with you on that, because we may have done some things for our family, but we have not done everything that we need to do. And we're seniors, so
Mhm.
we know we need to be more proactive. Um, in our lives and getting things, ready. Because this is what I find. As I showed at the beginning of the show about Save Your Home from Probate, people don't want to talk about it. And I think somehow they think if they don't talk about it, it's not going to happen.
It's gonna
But
go
they do. And I be like, hello, it's
away.
not going away.
Not going anywhere. What you're gonna find out is family division.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm not trying to be biblical here, but I'm a pastor. But it amazed me. I said, God, I don't tell no playbook, and I realized the Bible is 66 books. I said, oh, this is a playbook because I play sports, so
Uh-huh.
that's how I interpret it. Or I used to read music. Oh, okay, these are just the charts.
Right,
I always had something to guide me,
right.
and so you have to have something that you train your family before you leave.
Wow.
So when you leave, you have instructions that they now train. Proverbs 13, wise men leave the inheritance to not his children, but his
Children,
grandchildren.
children. That's right.
So we just got our wonderful grandson, Miles. He's 4 months old. And so my
Wow.
responsibility is Miles to,
Yeah.
to set up a legacy for him. And then I told my son, now your job is going to be to do what? Take care of Miles' son or Miles' daughters, his children. And we keep the system going, taking care of generations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I would tell you that really, that's something I don't think, I'm not, I can't speak for all African American families, but as you mentioned earlier, you as a young man in this society, you were not given a playbook. You were basically given a blank slate, to figure it out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as I'm sure you're aware of too, we have a high incarceration rate for African American males, and it maybe that's that blank slate that they all got, or
Yeah.
or, or many. I'll say many. I won't say every. I don't want to lump everybody into one.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It is unfortunate when you give a person a playbook to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and you're constantly getting coached in that playbook.
Right.
You know, it changes things. When
Yes.
you have no playbook, you ever seen a pastor pass away or a CEO pass away, and then the company or the church go in disarray?
Yes.
There's no successive planning involved.
Right. Right.
Or you get family, my daddy, or you get, families that are,
Yeah.
from different parents, and we come together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you got debating who gets the most, or the people that
Right.
that blood, that no, you got to have a plan. And so I started reading several books, and they was talking about a plan, and but they said, oh, you're going to need to have a trust company. Okay, well, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have to have about 500 million to start. Well, Rick don't have no 500 million.
Right.
Nobody I know got 500 million. They said
No.
that's what it takes. So what it is it's something that's been kept away from society, and that's how the richest teaching that each generation to pass it on, because they have a written instruction. So what did I do? You know what I did, Mary?
What's that?
Well, you give me a problem, I got to solve it, right?
Right.
So I came up with my own, and I wrote for almost a year. I
Wow.
wrote it, erased it, wrote. It was like writing a book.
Yeah.
Came up with all my articles. Something happened to me. Here's instructions for my wife. She never have to, pardon my colloquial here, roll the dice and guess.
Right.
Just follow what's in that paper.
Wow.
Follow instructions. Um,
Oh.
here's who you call. Here's the account number. You know,
Wow.
and call this person. That's just one of the resources that I provide,
Right.
just organizing yourself. And I even give you a sample of a playbook. And so I wrote mine in about 9 months, 10 months,
Right.
and it's right now it's about almost 50 pages, but eventually it's going to be somewhere around 200 to 300 pages.
Wow. It's a book.
It's your book.
It's
It's your
definitely
family
a book.
book. It's your family book, but it's more instructional. So I'd say, like, okay, if something happened to one child doesn't have a child,
Mm-hmm.
and that child passed away, well, it'll never flow through marriages.
Oh, okay. Got it.
The family wealth never transferred to through marriages at all. It all goes through the bloodline. That's what one of my kids is called. Success runs in the bloodline.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah.
know too, because when, and some people may or may not know this, and number one, I have to preface this and say I'm not an attorney, but inheritances never go through marriages. They go to directly to that person. So if you inherit $1 million, you're married and you inherit $1 million, it does not go to the community. It's like community property.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that's outside of the community is an inheritance. So, but I'm not an attorney, so the only anybody, say that lady said that and she sound like she is a lawyer. I always have to preface, I'm not a lawyer, and this I always say, seek an attorney's advice when in anything legal.
Yeah.
Anything legal. Go to
This
get
is,
an attorney.
but you know what? This is why I created a legal team for my family, and I did it without paying a dime in the beginning.
Wow. I'm definitely interested in knowing how you did that.
So I put it in my kids. I tell you what I did.
Right.
I'm literally giving you it's not a book just to read, it's a playbook. And this is how I interviewed. So each person I went to, I had 10 questions. I'm asking them about them. And I said, you know what? No longer interviewing me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to interview you because you're going to be a part of my team. And you make more money than I do right now. You have more assets than I do. But you know what? I'm building a whole family business, which was a different concept.
Right.
Yeah. So I hope that, and the good thing about it, even when I
What's
do
that?
the conferences, young people come to it.
Wow, that's good.
They want
Because
to learn.
I was gonna say, because you know what, and this is what and I've never understood this. We don't talk about, and I'm a retired educator. Why we do not teach students about the cost of a wedding, the cost of a funeral, the cost. I hate to say it, the cost of dying. We never talk about that. We don't talk about the cost of buying a home, the cost of what is not real. They mention interest, but it's not in a way, in my opinion, that it makes that I can apply it. They do it math in the math classes. Don't get me wrong. We talk about that, but not where we're talking about when you're buying a house, what an interest rate even is. I mean, insurance, so many things that every day we will have to do. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know why we don't talk. And then maybe they expect the parents to talk about it. That's all I can think of. And
I
maybe that's
I'm making my business.
it. It's like,
No ambiguity here. But the point is that you have to go out of your way to teach people how to do certain things. If you become a writer, you had to be educated, you had to go get trained to be one.
yes, you do. You
Uh,
do.
we've got people that become successful in sports and
Mhm.
so forth. Why are so many of them broke 6, 7, 8 years after?
Oh my gosh. That if you want to know the truth about it, it's almost like you're almost scared to get the kind of money because they how many are really very successful after they get it?
It's, I
They have,
can't,
you know,
I can't recall the number, but I remember one of my friends. I'll be discreet. He played in the NFL, and he said, "I want you to go somewhere with me to meet with this team. It's an NFL team." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Man, listen, these guys are driving up in Ferraris,
yeah.
Bentleys, and Rolls." And he said, "And they're broke before they even
Woo!
before they even got a check. They're broke." And so that never came to pass. But I've had a privilege of working with people,
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, look, I'll let you do the self-paced, or I'll coach you."
Right.
But the point is, why don't you write your family legacy constitution? I'll give you a sample. I want you to do it yourself. And that's what I did. That thing changed me. And I'll say this, man.
Mm-hmm.
What it really did is taught me that was one of the most selfless things I've ever done, because I was thinking about other people more than myself. And I thought
Yeah.
about my grandchildren. And now I got a grandson. Hey, I want to keep my promise.
Wow. I can tell you. I mean, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking of so many people that need this. But as you know, too, we're definitely going to do it, my husband and I. But you can't make people do it. That's what that's the frustration I think is that, and then when something happens and it's too late, and now people are at each other's throat, which could have, I'm not going to say it been prevented, but it would have been diminished if they had, believe it or not, I hate to even admit this, but even a will. There's so many people that have property don't even have a will. Well, we know it's true. Aretha Franklin didn't have a will. I think they found one later, but Prince didn't have a will. A will. And these are people that have multi-millionaire estates.
I think his just settled. Um, and the people that was the legal teams that got rich on it.
Well, that's normally who gets rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well,
Gwen
back up.
said, welcome.
Hey, Gwen, how you doing there?
Hi, Gwen. I'm going down the list here. I want to make sure we get our guests. Like I said, they are the heart of this show. They are truly the heart. When you see names here, you hear me call something that every week I've actually said this. If they're not there, it's almost like there's no show. Gwen is one, Richard's one, Elaine. I didn't see Elaine. You see Elaine comes in, bless you, a little later.
Mhm.
Oliver, Wivani. I can tell you, David. I can call names because they're here every show. And this says Happy New Year's. Look at Richard said Happy New Year to Gwen. Oh, Happy New Year to you. And then there's Fayette. Welcome, Mr. Rickey Johnson. Then we have Sandra Johnson. Hi, Sandra.
That's our
Welcome,
ministry.
welcome, welcome. All right. Welcome, Sandra. This is Jeanette. She says, hi, Mary, and your guest, Mr. Rickey Johnson. I really appreciate hearing what you both are saying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And David is in. David, are you here? You're in North Carolina. Let me see, David. Happy New Year, David. David, I think, is either North or South Carolina, but he's from the Inland Empire area. And he lives there now. I think he moved there. Wivani, Happy New Year, Mary, and your guest, Mr. Rickey Johnson. Looking forward to learning some skills to put in place for this new year. Thank you, Wivani. And she is a writer.
Okay.
And we have Charles. Hello, Mary. Hi, Charles. And this is Mary. Hi, Mary. Mary, Happy New Year. I love you. I love you too, Mary. That's my first cousin in Jonestown, Mississippi. Hi, Mary. So,
Been to Jackson, never been to Jonestown.
You been to Jonestown?
No, Jackson. I taught a
That's
financial school
oh,
in Jackson.
most people don't know where Jonestown is. It's a small little town in Clarksdale County. How can you get young people to be money wise? Xavier says that. Xavier, hi Xavier. He was a guest on the show too.
Okay,
So that was his question for you. I'm thinking it's for you.
no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
How do we get young people to be money wise?
Now, young people are driven by what?
Money.
Is it money or things?
It's
Prestige? Which one is it?
I think it's things more so. Uh-huh.
The thing is, everybody's different.
It
If I,
is.
okay, what was that guy, gentleman name again?
Yeah, that was Xavier Palmer.
Okay, Xavier. Okay, is he in California or?
He is. He
Okay.
actually, yes, in the
So
Inland Empire. Mm-hmm.
let's say I was sitting down with Xavier, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I do offer for anyone watching. I do offer my website a 60-minute coaching session, free, free, and I'm gonna give you my free ebook. You can go to. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Look.
You can go to masteryourgift.net and they can sign up, and I'll schedule them. I only can do 10 every month because it's getting busy. So I tell
Mm-hmm.
people you better register because it is. I'm already starting the book, finishing January and February. But here's the deal: once a person, for instance, what's the difference between a credit card and a debit card? Most people don't even know.
Well, the credit card is you're paying in the future. Debit card is taking right out of your bank account instantly, basically.
Now, from a business perspective, what do you say?
Oh,
A credit card is a loan. It's a loan from the bank, and so it helps build your FICO score.
oh, okay, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
the debit card doesn't do that for you.
No, it doesn't.
That's what we use the debit card more. So you have to think business. Did you know it's easier to build business credit than personal credit?
I have heard that.
Yeah, yeah, it's easier
Mm-hmm.
to build. I tell people go try to build some business credit because it's much easier to get.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my FICO score. We lost some property. I see my dear friend Claire Jordan. She's a banker.
I
You want
see here.
you
I'm
want
going
her.
down the list. Uh-huh.
And then Rick Porter, he's one of our bishops there in Tennessee. Uh,
Okay.
and so Claire was instrumental to helping me a number of years ago. My credit went to I trusted some people and they stole from us. Every time you fixed the house up in the city I was in, the state I was in, they would steal the copper out, you know,
Wow.
they'll rent
Mm-hmm.
your house. So I had to change the ball game. Lost credit with the 510.
Wow.
Claire, she was the banker. She showed me what to do. This again many years ago. I
Right.
applied her rule. It didn't take long before next thing you know, after I applied the rule, but I'll start where people are. And I applied the rule. Eventually, because of her advice, we keep our credit above 800.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't hard. But if you
Yeah.
ignore things, they don't go away.
Right.
Ugly
That's
never
true.
leaves. Ugly
That's
will
true.
leave. You know,
That's
uh,
true.
and so there are principles for young people to start them out learning about. See, the thing is, we have the what I call the affinity or proclivity I would use
Right.
those things that don't help us
Yeah.
instead of having an affinity for things that will help us. I'll
Yeah.
spend all this money on these jeans, but I won't even buy your book to learn how to say no nicely.
Yeah. You're
You know,
right.
they taught me how to say no silently. Hire,
Mm.
hire somebody to say no for you. That's the rule. Hire somebody to
Yeah.
say, that's my no man. That's my no
Yeah.
lady. So when they
Yeah.
say, oh, so and so will call you, that means the answer is no. And when they call, but you help a person where they are. I just took the advice people told me, but
Okay.
these people were qualified.
Right.
This wasn't my buddy at the basketball court giving me his advice. These are people that were living what they were living, and
Right.
they taught me what to do, and I started applying it. Sat with the attorney for my wife and I 4.5, 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Walked out of there with a thick living trust, but didn't even know much about it. So
Right.
If I'm incapacitated, is something written in there?
Right.
If I pass, something in there for her.
Wow.
But here's the thing.
Wow.
Then we've got a clause in there. Watch this
Mhm.
clause. I learned this from people. I
Right.
put this in the training that I use. I put all this in there and have a clause that if you wouldn't agree with me, say you were my sister,
Right.
you didn't agree with what I've written, then you are automatically disqualified.
Wow.
That's in our trust. So you have to go by what's written.
Hmm.
So if you get nothing, you have to be happy about it,
Wow.
or at least silent,
Or,
because it's
yeah.
written for my legacy.
Right. Right. I've heard people even leaving people $1
That's
because
that's
they
insult.
said, I don't know if that, I've heard that. I don't
Yeah,
know. I've heard these
yeah,
rumors that people said that because they left them something. Because if they leave 0, then they'll say, well, they didn't mean to do that. But if they left $1, they obviously meant to do that. So there's no question about it. And we're going to go on. We have
sure.
Ethel Rucker says, Happy New Year, Mary and Ricky. We have Renwick Porter. Thank you, Mary, for having Bishop Rickey Johnson on. Valuable information. Thank you, Renwick. And thank you for being on the show. Thank you for
Yeah,
being here today. And Ethel says, it's February 11th, our Black History event. All right. And Ethel is actually coming on. Ethel and her husband and Donald Rucker will be on here February the 13th. They're going to be on the show. And Ethel said, that's awesome. And Claire Jordan says, receiving the financial and biblical instructions from Bishop Rickey Johnson. My husband and I are completely debt free as of last month. Hallelujah. I'm with you, Claire. Debt free? Are you kidding?
yes. She came and told me. She said, "Your advice. Here, this is what happened." You know,
Wow.
uh,
Good for you, Claire. Good for you. And we
she's
have David that says, oh, he's from North Carolina. I knew it was the Carolinas. David, thank you. And Ethel says, this is valuable. And it is, isn't it, Ethel? Valuable information. And Oliver, who is the executive producer for the show, also my husband, he says, hi,
Oliver.
Mr. Johnson. Welcome to the show with your wealth of knowledge. All right. And Claire says, praise God. Claire, I'm praising God right along with you. Okay. That is wonderful. I think honestly, I don't talk to too many people that are debt free. So just hearing that, it
Yeah,
sounds it's music to my ears. That's what
yeah.
that is, music to my ears.
And
So
we have to articulate debt free,
okay,
right? So there's good debt and there's bad debt,
correct.
and she is bad debt free.
Okay, that's still I'll go with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's the one you want to be free from.
Right.
You go out,
I agree.
you
Uh-huh.
you OPM other people's money. You go buy homes or whatever. Now that's good debt because it's bringing in money.
Correct.
So when people
No,
say you want to be debt free, I don't know. I want to be bad debt free.
I agree. I agree. So we don't worry, we're gonna be talking. Because I'm learning, and I know as they say, you're never too old to learn. You're
Mhm.
never too old, and I'm definitely feel like I'm one of those people. I want to learn. I want to know with there's so much to learn out here,
Yeah,
and no, as we all know, nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. But I
correct.
know too. I wanted to make sure um, on the you as we talked before, and you said how you got to where you are now. What was that? What has that journey been like to go from, like you said, in the Taco Bell? What happened in that Taco Bell that day? Because something happened that day that the light something went off. I don't know.
So it went off all right. I, I said, and I told myself, now you know you could get on the phone right now and you could call home. Somebody
Yeah.
could wire you money. You can go home. I couldn't do it. See, I've been working. I had my first business. I was 14, cutting grass, and
Mm,
then I've been working since I've been 15.
yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden I don't have a job. I don't have this, and I'm like, whoa, no, no, I'm a worker. But in my mind, I realized something. I just said, I don't know what I'm doing. How did I
Right.
get here? And that's when I realized that I literally was in a place of ignorance. Of
Mm,
simply means not knowing. So
Yeah.
from there, I told myself, okay, what do I do? So I started talking to people. And then one guy came and said, hey, look, have you ever read this book? No, what's this book? And he
Mm.
gave me that book. And from there, I kept reading,
And
buying
that was it. You said Think and Grow Rich,
no,
or
read that too. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich
That's,
Dad Poor Dad?
that's my
Okay.
first book. But I kept
Wow.
learning, and then I started learning about other stuff. And then I learned to apply different. And then, like, okay, you mentioned banks, right?
Hmm.
I mean, one lady was talking. I said, well, what's your interest rate? And we did some division. I said, oh, you're in what's
Hmm.
called a 14,000 year plan. She said, what? I said, oh, because of what you're earning. I said, just divide it by this. She divided. She said, that's 14,000. I said, so it's going to take you 14,000 years to double your money sitting because it's parked. It's parked.
Wow. And
So there's
she had no clue.
no clue. And I don't know how many people on the call. It was a private, it was not a podcast, but it was a show I was doing. And next thing I know, it was, she said, listen, how do I change? So I said, listen, go to the bank tomorrow and do blank. And she did it and text me back. And she said, I didn't even know this stuff existed. And that is what I'll tell you, Mary, what I constantly hear from people.
Yep.
What is that? I've never heard that before.
Right.
I taught at a HBCU back in New York. I couldn't see the students because we were doing a Zoom.
Right.
And so as I talked for 30, 40 minutes, kids had 1,000 questions.
Hmm.
And they say, we've never had no one pique their interest like this because they didn't want to be ignorant. And this is a college, but I didn't know how many faculties was watching. No one told me.
Right.
No, what I did is got a text back to say, listen, we want you to come out here. Oh, by the way, our chancellor heard about you. He wants you to go to 4 other schools.
Wow.
Because we've never heard it before. So when I go to churches, I said, look, it's out there. You just didn't know where to look.
Yeah.
You know,
I believe it.
yeah.
Even the short time that I've spoken with you, I have learned so much, and a lot of it, like you said, it's been right there. But as I mentioned before, this is not taught in schools. It is
No,
not
right.
taught where you would think it should be taught, and it's almost like is it? I know it's not hidden on purpose, but it makes you wonder why isn't it?
Well, I won't say why they say that, but there's a way you can, if you want to hide something, what do you do with it?
So I've heard put in the library.
Yeah, put in the book
Hmm.
because they're going to be on the basketball court, not in the library.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And so, as we, oh, I think I got cut off. Hey, did I get cut off? I don't, hey, can you guys tell me if I'm still on? I don't even know. Um, if someone can type in, let me know if I'm in. How did I get it? Hey, Johnson, can you see me? Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so my wife says she can hear me. All right, and Claire can see me. So I don't know. Well, I'll keep going. You can put questions in the thing until she come back on. Put some questions in, and I'll answer the questions for you. Okay, Claire says she don't see. I don't see Mary. Okay, she got lost. So put some questions in, and I'll answer. As long as you guys telling me you can hear me, we'll keep it going. I know how to adjust, and I'll just stay on it. Yeah, you lost Mary. Okay, Xavier, thank you. So ask me a question, and I'll see if I can answer um, in the time frame. Otherwise, you can see my website is masteryourgift.net. You can go there, and you can register. I'm doing, some free coaching, 60-minute coaching. So you can go there, and the coaching is based on where you are. And then there's some people that I'll say, hey, here's someone you want to connect with, and connect with that person. And they're on the legal side. I'm not giving any legal advice whatsoever. They're on the legal side. Okay, Gwen says more about family values as our legacy as Christians. Um, there you are.
I'm right here. Something happened. My system just said, "Oh, we're gonna give you a little break." So,
When we was young and we left our daughter one time over my brother's house, and he brought her where we were, my daughter said, "You left me."
oh,
No, I'm saying that because I'm saying to you, you left
I
me.
know. But you know what? When I came, I could see you when I came back. I said, "He is a pro." I
Yeah,
can. So excellent. And I hear and I saw you answering the question. So let me stop you.
yeah. So one person said more values, family values are about the legacy. Okay, legacy outlive you. Obviously, it's not just having a name; it's leaving information. I'm gonna be biblical for 1 second. When Jesus died, when we see get up, he rose, but he left us a book, 6 books, so we know what
Mhm.
to do. And so you have to leave your family some kind of information, um, some kind of information. And then Claire mentioned the rule of 72. Have
Yes.
you ever heard that rule?
Yes, I
Uh,
have. Mhm.
So what I always ask people, don't answer, please. But I always ask people, do you apply it though? And most
Do I?
people don't. No,
I
not
would
you.
say. Oh, okay. I thought you want me to answer.
No, I'll keep your stuff private. One
Okay.
time, my wife and I went to the bank and we was opening an account, and I asked the lady, I said, do you use the rule of 72? Now, I learned you don't ask the question, you already know the answer.
Right.
And she said, what is that? I've been in 15 years. I've never heard anyone say that. I said, okay, well, is the president here, the bank president? She said, no, but she went and got the vice president. He walked right over and said to me, no, sir, we don't use the rule of 72. No. I said, no, because you use fractional banking.
Mm,
You know,
mhm.
I said, I just wanted to know maybe things had changed. And simply means you divide 72 by whatever interest rate you're giving. Say you're getting 12%. So that means that six. So again, you take 72 divided by the interest rate, whatever you're doing. So
Mhm.
when you invest, always ask, do you use the rule of 72? If they say no, say, okay, what do you guarantee me? Well,
Mhm.
what's the estimated return? They say, okay, it'd be 11%. Well, we did that one time. It was like
Mhm.
11.49. But believe me, your money is doubling every 6 years when you use the rule of 72.
Right.
How did I learn this though? Now, here's what's interesting. We were refinancing the church and I didn't want to do it, but I had no choice. This was many years ago. Now our church is, we have no debt.
Wow.
We're remodeling,
Wow.
remodeling everything, no loans, no nothing.
Wow.
Like you see somebody like Sandra and Claire, they were in those board meetings with us. And I was using these rules.
Right.
I was using these rules. And so when I sat there, it was a Jewish guy. It was about 20 of us in the room. He had a whole team. I only had me and another guy. And he said to me, he said, son, I mean, young man, he said, have you ever heard the rule of 72? Now I knew he was Jewish.
Right.
And by going to school, I said, no, sir, but your servant speaketh, your servant listeneth. I was quoting Moses, and he knew
Right.
it.
Uh-huh.
He told everybody to be quiet. I want to talk to this young man. For the next 20 minutes or so, he began to teach me about the rule of 72.
Wow.
And that
That
was my
was,
introduction.
and like you said, it's like I say, I'm gonna reiterate again. Have you ever heard that taught in any high school or anything like that? No.
Not in school at all, or in
Wow.
families, or in families.
Even now, I guarantee you, there's someone here that's going, I've never heard of it. You're teaching me something I didn't already know. I'm gonna share this information. That alone, for those of you that are interested in reducing any credit card debt or your mortgage or anything like that, what he's just giving you is a roadmap to doing that on how you can do that. Am I correct?
Yeah, without legal advice. I
Oh,
never.
there's no, it's not nothing. We're not attorneys. So
Yes.
it's all, you know, I have to throw that disclaimer in there.
Again
But
and again and again.
I
Yeah.
do, but you know why? Because I did attend law school for a while, and that was one thing when our professor said, as long as you disclaim it, you can. As long as you're not telling when you're an attorney, you're fine. It's your opinion. It's your opinion.
Opinion, my opinion.
So I've
And
learned to just say that. So
I had some relatives come not long ago. They was out here and we was talking. I had them in the car and we was talking. They said, "What is this thing you're doing?" And, so I said, okay, whenever you invest, I use 3 rules. And I began to share the rules and said, how do you do this? I said, you know what? Why don't you play my game? So what I'm doing, Mary, is I wrote a game.
I remember you told me.
Wheels,
Uh-huh.
Bills, and Money Skills. And on Saturday, I'll be with the pastors, brokers, them. And that's
Uh-huh.
when we'll be playing the game. And that opens up a lot of questions,
Right.
you know, then more answers. It's opened up a lot of questions. And we play the game. So eventually you can play the game online. I mean, I designed my own website and stuff. And I designed over 100 questions. And you can go over it over and over and say, let me try that again and keep
Right.
learning. And as I'm talking to you in my hand on this Saturday, I
Right.
plan to have the workbook that you can take home and you can play the game with the Rokers this week. I don't know if you want to know. I'm putting a
Mm.
plug in for them. And
Okay. I know I will. I mentioned, I think, to them, they're
yeah,
going to send me the flyer, and I told them I would be willing to email the
yeah,
flyer. I
we're
already
gonna,
talked to Ethel, to
yeah,
Pastor Ethel. So definitely, if you're on the email list, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you get the information. You go to marydwelch.com, marydwelch.com, and join the email list, and that way you get the emails that go out. I've been very easy on you guys during the holiday season, by the way. I gave you a break during the holidays. But this, I'm gonna ask you, Pastor. I say Pastor, Bishop. Oh, so many different hats that you wear. But first of all, I want to tell you this has been so informative, definitely for me. And what you've done really is remind me of some things too. It's been a reminder, and I'm glad we're starting off the year like this in 2023. So, ladies and gentlemen, you see Master Your Gift. Is it
you-
gift.net?
you're correct.
Okay. Go to the website if you need any, you'd like to contact Pastor Johnson, Bishop Johnson. You like to contact him. You like to learn about the game that he is mentioning on the show. All of this information is available on his website. If you like to have him speak to your group, it's on the website also. Speaking engagements, and he travels all over the country speaking. So this is an opportunity to get on that calendar early before, because it's already filling up for this coming
Yeah,
year. So if you want to, that's what
yeah,
I know. It's like, you better
yeah,
catch them now. Did
yeah.
you have any final words for our audience?
Listen, I'm so grateful. My thing is, I tell people, don't chase money.
Mm,
Value knowledge. Learn from people.
wow.
When you learn from people, you get to your destination much faster. There's
Yeah.
no cookie cutter out there.
Yeah.
You have to have your system for you, and you need a family system.
Yeah.
And so, um, if you go, like I said, to masteryourgift.net in closing, sign up
Mhm.
for the free coaching. You got to hurry up because I'm telling you, it is booking. In fact, you and your husband, I think, have registered, and yours is January something. Yeah,
Yes.
I have to verify my scripts, my calendar. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's all I'm about to say. Thank you so
Um,
much.
you're
And much
welcome.
success. Because I told everybody about you today. I ain't gonna say the number, but it's pretty big.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, because to me, this is definitely a ministry. I started over 2 years ago, had no idea how this even worked, if I be honest with you. But I've learned you just take one day at a time. There is no, like, if I agree with you 100%, there is no cookie cutter way. It is a one day at a time journey, and I just thank God for the opportunity to be online and to have the show. And we have one more comment before we go, and that is from Gwen. She says, "Great show. I'll be on your website. Looking forward to the free coaching." All
Yes.
right, thank you, Gwen. And I'm going to say this to everyone, and right now, that we like to thank you for being here today. Happy New Year from myself and Bishop Johnson. We are um, blessings to each and every one of you, because I know 2023 is going to be the best year ever
Oh
for
my.
all of us. For all of us. So God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you next Monday in a week. All righty. Thank you.
Bye
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 bye,
now.
everybody.